What's up, everybody? I'm Guy. This is Just Bluefish Watch Reviews, and today we're going to be doing my Sunday with Guy episode. It's a weekly show where I usually answer questions, comments, and emails from viewers like you, but at other times I just talk about or even rant about topics that are on my mind. And today I want to talk about something that has been on my mind for a few weeks now. It's a somewhat sensitive topic, but I think it might help some people. It'll certainly help me to open up and talk about it, and if nothing else, I think that it's worth it for that reason alone. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video talking about this watch here. It is my Apple Watch, and a lot of people are going to say, not a watch. Now, in the video where I was talking about this Apple Watch, I said that it really helped me personally with a bunch of different aspects of my life, including both my physical well-being, and it helped me very much with my mental health, which was a surprise that I wasn't expecting. Now, I only talked about that topic for a minute or so in that video, but a lot of people reached out to me in the comments and directly through private messages and emails, and they thanked me and they praised me for opening up and for talking about mental health. Now, to preface this with my own personal mental health struggles, I suffer from a generalized anxiety disorder that ranges from extremely severe to sometimes more manageable, and it just depends on time of year and what's going on in my life. There's many different factors, but it can be really debilitating at times. Aside from my generalized anxiety disorder, I also have a problem with not OCD. I think a lot of people call it OCD, but it's not obsessive compulsive disorder. That's a little bit different. What I have is called obsessive compulsive personality disorder, OCPD. And people with OCPD, they fixate on things, but they don't create obsessive compulsive rituals like someone with OCD would. Like, I don't have to go to the front door and lock and unlock and lock and unlock and unlock the door a certain number of times as a ritual every time that I interact with it. But I can get very fixated and obsessed with different things. Like, for example, if I get a new watch, let's just, say this Zodiac watch here, which is on loan for review. Let's say I get this watch and there's just something about it that I don't like. I'll obsess on that aspect of the watch and I won't be able to feel comfortable about the watch until the problem is solved. So that's what, at least one aspect of what obsessive compulsive personality disorder is. Again, not the same as OCD. With OCD, you might have to wash your hands 35 times a day or some other obsessive and compulsive behavior. Regardless, those are probably the two main issues that I struggle with in my life: anxiety and OCPD. And I suspect that a lot of collectors, probably, whether it's watches or any other thing that is being collected, probably deal with those two things as well. I mean, many people that I've spoken to, they didn't realize that OCPD was a thing. And when I explained it to them, they said, oh my God, I'm the exact same way. If I get a package in the mail from Amazon and I open it up and there's something wrong with the delivery, I just obsess about it until I get that situation fixed. Everything in their life has to be resolved. They have to have all their ducks in a row. Things like that are obsessive compulsive personality disorder traits. And I bet a lot of us probably deal with that. Anxiety, another issue that I have talked to a lot of people that deal with. You just, for no reason at all, sometimes you might just be sitting around thinking, stuff's going through your mind. Maybe not related to watches at all, and most often it probably isn't related to watches. Then suddenly you start focusing on your breathing. Your breathing starts to feel shallow, it starts to get rapid, and before you know it, you're just freaking out, and you don't really even know why. Those are all things that I personally deal with, and I'm sure a lot of you guys deal with. And as watch collectors, is that is being a collector of something healthy for those things that we struggle with in our lives? I think that the answer could be both yes and potentially no as well. Now, the main thing that I want to emphasize on, and again, the watches and the collecting watches, collecting anything, isn't what's important. What's important is your physical and your mental health. So if you're in the middle of a serious health crisis, a mental health crisis in particular, I really what I want to emphasize to you guys is that forget about all of this stuff and find help. Ask for help, whether it's a family member, whether it's a mental health professional, whether it's me if you need to reach out to somebody, whatever. I would help anyone that is suffering from these problems if I could because you're not alone. That's the main thing. And I want you guys to understand why this is so important to me. A few years ago now, it's been a while, but 5 years, probably something in that ballpark. I probably block it out of my mind a little bit. So I don't even contextualize how long it's been. But my mother, she passed away. She committed suicide. She didn't have severe mental health problems, but I would say that anybody that does that to themselves certainly is suffering from, issues, mental health issues. She was suffering from physical pain issues as well, constantly in physical pain. And yeah, she shot herself. She couldn't take it anymore, I guess. And I don't want to see that happen to any of you guys. Just last year, my sister attempted to take her life with a intentional drug overdose. Fortunately, she didn't pass away. She was okay. But she does suffer from, like me, probably even more severe mental health problems at times. So the point being, I want you to understand why this is so important to me. Not only do I have these problems, and luckily I have never once thought of taking my own life. That is not something that I even consider an option, and I never have, not even at my worst points. But people that are very close to me have taken their own lives or have tried to take in their own lives. And I don't want to see any of you guys get to that point. So, above anything else, beyond the watches, beyond the collecting, beyond anything, take care of yourselves and do. Even if it's reaching out to me or, anybody, do ask for help. And there's something that you guys do for me that helps, and that's you watch these videos and you leave me comments, and I've made a lot of friends just from doing this YouTube thing for the last 6 years now, I guess it's been. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for that help. It has helped me immensely in ways that I probably can't even express to you guys. But yeah, I mean, there's several of you. I don't know. I feel like I probably shouldn't name everyone's name because I don't want to forget anyone. But there's Dale and there's Chris and there's Johnny, AB from Watch Collecting Strategies channel. There's just been a whole bunch of you guys that I have met from doing this YouTube thing that I greatly, greatly appreciate. My friend Bob, who ironically I sort of met through the YouTube thing, who lives in the same town as me, and his wife worked with my wife at the same company. But it was like, "Oh, does your husband do this YouTube you just bluefish thing?" It was a very strange introduction, but very cool. We kind of met through this channel. My friend Dave, I don't know if he's watching right now, but he's a Green Bay Packers fan like me, and we became close. So many of you guys, and again, I'm sorry if I forget anybody, but so many of you guys that I've met through this and become friends with, I greatly appreciate all of you guys so much. And then everyone else that just watches and that just leaves me comments and great interactions. It means so much to me. So I want to say thank you for all of the help that you've given me by watching this YouTube channel. You've supported me both, mentally and even financially. Those views mean ad revenue. This is what I do for money. And I'll be honest, it's not a lot of money. I don't make very much money doing YouTube. But because of my mental health problems, I can't go work a regular 9 to 5 job. There's periods of my life where I can't leave the house at all. If I leave the house, I have immediate panic attacks. So going out and having a normal job isn't something that I can do. Fortunately, I can sit down and I can talk to this camera and I can talk about my hobbies, and usually it's not an issue. So again, thank you for just watching. Thank you for subscribing. Now, with all of that said, let's get back to talking about watches, watch collecting. I have probably changed my perspective on how I approach watch collecting a dozen times or more in the last 5 or 6 years, 7 years, however long I've been interested in these watches now. I went from Pokemon style, gotta catch 'em all, great big collection to I only want to own one or two watches and that's it, to somewhere in the middle where I just want watches that have significant meaning to me. And that's sort of where I'm standing now. I don't want to just overwhelm myself with a huge collection of watches. And I could easily. There's tons of watches that I see and I'm like, oh, I'd love to have that in my collection. And, just curate a collection, even if I don't wear the watches all that often, to just curate that collection of watches that I really like and really appreciate. That would be cool. But I don't think that that's the right approach for me personally when it comes to my mental well being. On the other hand, I do like to collect things, right? I like to immerse myself in watches or in whatever it is that I'm interested in. And you can't really immerse yourself in it if you're just going to be a one and done watch collector. I mean, I would recommend that for most people, most average people, just having one really good watch is all you should really need. And if it's not one, maybe the number is two. Maybe it's a sports watch and a dress watch, and you're done. That's all you need. I think that's perfect for 95, if not 99% of the people out there. But for me, again, I want to be immersed in the hobby and I want a little bit more than that. So I'm trying to limit myself to those watches that are really significant and important to me, watches that for some reason really stuck with me and made an impression on me. And I think that that's a happy medium for me personally. Now, I know there's lots of guys out there that want to have 20, 30, 40, 50 watches. And look, if that's how you enjoy the hobby, by all means, you do you. But don't forget to reflect and to take stock in your mental health and ask yourself, is this affecting me negatively? And if the answer is no, then by all means, continue down the course that you've chosen. But be honest with yourself. And, if you're being overwhelmed, maybe if you're overspending and that's affecting your life, which obviously can take a toll on your mental health, please stop. Don't overspend. Don't buy watches that you can't afford. That's the worst thing that you can do for your financial and your physical and your mental health. But yeah, I'm going to sit somewhere in the middle there and have a reasonable sized collection of watches that have significant meaning to me, that really reach me at a level that I just identify with those watches. Things like my Rolex Submariner. I hopefully never get rid of that watch. I absolutely love it. I want to have it in my collection forever. There's certain Seiko watches, even though I have a beef with the brand Seiko and their quality control and their pricing and moving up market, I still think they're one of the greatest watch brands ever. They make iconic designs, and there are certain Seiko watches that I will always have in my collection. Casio is another one. I'll never not have a Casio G-Shock. So as you can see, the number of watches starts to add up. Hamiltons are another one of my favorite. I love the Hamilton Khaki Field, and I will always have some sort of vintage-inspired military Hamilton watch in my collection. So yeah, it's hard for me to say I just want one or two watches when there's so many that kind of reach me on a personal level. But five or six might be the perfect number for me, and I guess we'll see what happens. As time goes on, maybe I'll fall out of love with some of those watches, and maybe I'll fall in love with some new watches. And my collection will evolve and it will change. And it has over the 5, 6, 7 years now that I've been doing this YouTube thing and doing watch collecting. So as it evolves, I'm not going to stick to like a rigid staying on the train tracks plan where I only do the thing that I'm going to do, and I will let it take me where it goes and try not to obsess over it and try not to worry myself about it and just enjoy the ride. Well, guys, I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about watch collecting in general and talk about how it has affected my mental well being and how my mental well being has been affected by doing this YouTube thing. How you guys have helped me over the years by being participants in this YouTube journey and just mental health and collecting in general. I thought it was an interesting topic, and a lot of people liked that I touched it a little bit during that Apple Watch video that I did a while back. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into it. The bottom line is that if anyone out there is like me suffering from mental health struggles, please reach out, ask for help from somebody, anybody. If you think that having therapy might help, give it a try. I will say this about therapy. The first time that I ever went in, I think I was 17 years old. I was suffering from debilitating panic attacks and I didn't understand what was happening. Just opening up to the therapist that first time made me realize what was happening and made me come to terms with how I was feeling about it. So, that is actually beneficial. I've tried it since then, and it's been less successful. But the first time was actually very good. So, reach out to a therapist, reach out to family, friends, even me if you need to. And, I just encourage you to protect your mental well being because I've lost people that I love who have struggled with their mental well being. And I don't want any of you and anyone that you care about losing you. That said, I guess I'll wrap this one up today. Sorry, there was no breakthroughs here. We didn't answer any of life's great questions or solve any of its mysteries, but I hope you appreciated this one. If you did, let me know down in the comments what you think. And until the next one, I'll sign off and I will say bye now.